This here's from USA Today. They've got this list of people who accuse Diddy of some not such nice things. Vibe magazine editor says Diddy threatened her over cover shot. Danielle Smith, former editor-in-chief of Vibe magazine, alleges Combs threatened her in the late 1990s due to a disagreement over the rapper's cover shoot for the hip-hop outlet. Smith, who claims the incident happened in the fall of 1997, said Combs expressed interest in seeing the final images for his Vibe cover. After Smith repeatedly declined Combs' requests, citing company policy, the journalist said Combs told her in a phone conversation he would see me dead in a trunk. Although Combs reportedly apologized for the remark at the demand of Smith's attorney, Smith said she had to be escorted by fellow Vibe staffers when she delivered the proofs for Combs' cover after staffers alleged Combs came to the publication's office with two tough guys looking for me. Despite the alleged threat, Smith continued to interact and be cordial with Combs. It's very hard not to feel complicit. I wish things were different. I guess that's a quote from her. They don't exactly say. And then they have Howard University alum alleges DV violence incident. An alumni at Howard University alleges they witnessed Combs assault a female student on campus. The former Howard University student, who was not identified in the docuseries, said the alleged 1988 incident took place outside their dorm after Combs was spotted angrily searching for the female student, at one point whipping the wall with his belt. When the female student met with Combs, the Howard alumni claimed he began beating her. Despite the alumni's verbal protests from their dorm window, Combs' interaction with the young woman continued in the doorway of a different dorm. Nobody actually really came to her rescue like we probably should have, the Howard alumni reflected. It's very important to tell you that young woman's story because he was never held accountable. You know, this goes back to Casey's video in the hall. Why it's pretty important is it makes things like this more believable. He's knocking around Casey in the hall, throwing her around, being very rough. So it's much easier to believe this when we've got that. The two are pretty similar. Concert promoter says Diddy pursued him in high-speed chase amid East Coast-West Coast feud. All right, man, this is obviously a very different subject, but let's hear it. Concert promoter DeWitt Gilmore claims Combs retaliated against him during the East Coast-West Coast feud that defined hip-hop culture in the mid-90s. Gilmore sued Combs and his bodyguards in November for assault and battery over the alleged 1996 incident. In the document, Gilmore claims Combs targeted him after the music mogul spotted him wearing a t-shirt that read Death Row East. Death Row Records, a Los Angeles branded label co-founded by Suge Knight, was famously at odds with Combs' Bad Boy Records due to the rivalry between their respective artists, Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. He aligned his beef with Suge Knight and Death Row at the West Coast with that t-shirt, Gilmore said. So it's like, how dare you jump to the other side? All right, man. I'm not very versed in these feuds here between rappers and stuff. Gilmore also alleged Combs pursued him in a high-speed chase throughout Manhattan following a tense conversation in their vehicles. At one point, the concert promoter said he and his friends heard gunfire, though it was unclear where the shot came from. My whole future would be erased through your menace to society, said Gilmore, seemingly addressing Combs. My story is just a piece of the bigger puzzle of his mayhem. Then they got this. Danity Kane alum D. Woods says Diddy was verbally abusive. Actress and singer D. Woods, who was a member of Combs' girls group Danity Kane, spoke out on Combs' legal troubles in an interview with ABC News' Eva Pilgrim that aired Monday. And they quote her, "You know, he's looked at as a hero of our community, and myself included. I looked up to him. I would say that this moment now is a time where I feel like my experience, my truth, will really be heard and actually considered and believed." I know, all right, cool, but I got to put verbal abuse in a very different category than physical abuse. There's also different types of verbal abuse. I think verbal abuse that's very general, that could apply to anybody, isn't so bad. For example, if I've got 3 people and one of them's got like a terribly big nose and I say, "You're a big nose, you're ugly," that's really bad. That's only about them. It's specifically targeting them. If I say something like, "Well, I think you're stupid," anybody could be stupid. So if you follow my logic, for verbal abuse, it's got to be something that's really targeting somebody. It's got to be something that really is personal and can't be about someone else. Because if it could be about anybody, then you could just ignore it. I don't know. That's just me. It's just on a different level from the physical stuff as far as I'm concerned. And more subjective. For example, when Diddy pulled Cassie through the hall, we've got the video. That's not subjective. When Johnny got a finger cut off, that's not subjective. If Diddy said something verbally, well, we could talk about it, what it meant, what he meant, this and that. Anyway, that's about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. Doing pop culture entertainment. Blake Lively's out now. Diddy, Meghan Markle, whatever comes up with Johnny, and even Amber if something happens to come up. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.